Welcome to my channel, because subscribing is forever free, so please help subscribe. And don't forget to like, and comments too, thanks.
Best Cleopatra quotes from popular culture. The captivating allure of Cleopatra. A significant political genius, in that regard, according to Plutarch, is her ability to speak multiple languages, including, as he puts it, the language of flattery and the power to sway others to her will. Being the only ruler of Egypt, and enlarging her realm were Cleopatra's main goals. Her main goal changed to being Egypt's sole leader, and reclaiming Egypt for herself. She was as attractive as any other Alexandrian woman. Plutarch claimed that Cleopatra's beauty was more about her presence, persuasiveness, strong character, tone, and captivating tongue, which helped her carve out her own space in the year. We can see how resolute and strong of a person Cleopatra was by her famous phrase, "I will not be victorious over." She was a pillar of excellence. The only Ptolemaic emperor who learned Egyptian was Cleopatra, who also spoke Koine Greek. Several Cleopatra quotes still stand out as excellent examples of her allure even though she lived more than 2,000 years ago. The dynamic Queen Cleopatra is a well-known and legendary person. Through her persona, she encourages us to compete at our highest level in the same way that she did all those years ago. Cleopatra was a mysterious Egyptian monarch. She embodied strength, knowledge, love, and passion. Here are some of the most memorable Cleopatra quotes for you. "Fool! Don't you see now that I could have poisoned you 100 times, had I been able to live without you? Leave the fishing rod, great general, to us sovereigns of Pharos and Canopus. Your game is cities, and kings, and continents. At Mark Antony's tomb nothing could part us in life, but now in death, we are likely to change places, you the Roman lying here in Egyptian soil, and I, helpless woman that I am, being buried in Italy." In praising Antony, I have dispraised Caesar. Is he a good man? Define good. I will not be triumphed over. My honor was not yielded, but conquered merely. All strange and terrible events are welcome, but comforts we despise. As she applies the second asp to her arm. I can no more. O Antony, nay, I will take thee too. So I learned two things that night, and the next day, from him, the perfection of a moment, and the fleeting nature of it. And make death proud to take us. Celerity is never more admired than by the negligent. To rush into the secret house of death. Apollodorus came, Caesar saw, Cleopatra conquered. As a famous historian once said, in all its history, Rome deigned to fear two people, one was Hannibal, the other was a woman. I loved him so, even his past was precious to me. I found myself kissing each mark, thinking, I would have had it never happen, I would wish it away, taking him further and further back to a time when he had known no disappointments, no battles, no wounds, as I erased each one. To make him again like Caesar Ion. Yet if we take the past away from those we love, even to protect them, do we not steal their very selves? Princess, he said, spreading his arms in a shrug, how does such a little thing like you get such a big temper? I held up my hand to shield my eyes from the sun. Mark Antony, I said, how does such a big man like you have such a little brain? She did lie, in her pavilion cloth of gold of tissue picturing that Venus where we see the fancy outwork nature. She did lie, in her pavilion cloth of gold of tissue picturing that Venus where we see the fancy outwork nature. If you find him sad, say I am dancing. If in mirth, report that I am sudden sick. Age cannot wither her, nor custom stale. Her infinite variety, she makes hungry where most she satisfies, for vilest things become themselves in her. And Anthony, enthroned ith marketplace, did sit alone whistling to th air, which but for vacancy had gone to gaze on Cleopatra too, and made a gap in nature. That something is not impossible, does not mean that it happened. Nay, pray you, seek no color for your going, but bid farewell and go. When you sued to stay, then was the time for words. No going then. Eternity was in our lips and eyes, bliss in our brows bent, none our parts so poor but was a race of heaven. They are so still, or thou, the greatest soldier of the world, art turned the greatest liar. A commanding woman versed in politics, diplomacy, and governance, fluent in 9 languages, silver-tongued and charismatic, Cleopatra nonetheless seems the joint creation of Roman propagandists and Hollywood directors. The art of speaking, it was later said, depends on much effort, continual study, varied kinds of exercise, long experience, profound wisdom, and unfailing strategic sense. Her passions are made of nothing but the finest part of pure love. We cannot call her winds and water, sighs and tears. They are greater storms and tempests than almanacs can report. This cannot be cunning in her. If it be, she makes a shower rain as well as Jove. The breaking of so great a thing should make a greater crack. The round world should have shook lions into civil streets, and citizens to their dens. Cleopatra was exhausting to play, but also completely exhilarating. She creates her own energy. I decided I was going to play Cleopatra as someone with a brain. She's kept Egypt, this tiny country, in a balance of power with the almighty Roman Empire, and she's done it through force of personality. In time we hate that which we often fear. Cleopatra was on a political mission to save her country and her power, but what we remember about her are these 2 famed seductions, which are a matter of politics, not a matter of love. If you find sad, say I am dancing. If in mirth, report that I am sudden sick. Melt Egypt into Nile. In nature's infinite book of secrecy a little I can read. Be it known that we, the greatest, are misthought. So I learned 2 things that night, and the next day, from him, the perfection of a moment, and the fleeting nature of it. I found you as a morsel, cold upon dead Caesar's trencher.